especially for you now then. Business news. Catherine's here. You're going to start with a market update, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'm going to start in Asia, where trade has been underway for many hours now, and we are still seeing losses across the board in Asia. Particularly the Nikkei has been badly hit. It's recovered a little from that 1% loss that we saw last time I spoke to you, Stuart, but still across the board losses there. And in Tokyo, it really is that strengthening yen that's putting pressure.
Bit of a hangover there. Not mine, not Catherine's, a financial one. Bank of America we're talking about, making amends for bad behaviour during the 2008 banking crisis, aren't they? They're trying to, anyway.
Yes, they are, and there are a lot of banks that were involved in that crash, of course. Bank of America is now one that we're talking about, which is it's agreed to pay out several $1 billion for its part in that crash. Now, what we're talking about specifically is some of the bad mortgages that people signed up to. They could never really afford them. They were bad, toxic. They were never going to come off. These were packaged up, sold as investments between banks, and this is one of the big roots of the financial crash. So Bank of America agreeing now to pay out some $10 billion for its part. Josh Vardy has more details for you.
A hefty price to pay for Bank of America. Government-owned mortgage agency Fannie Mae is to receive €9 billion from the bank, settling a long-running row dating from the subprime credit crisis of 2008. The total sum will end Fannie Mae's persistent claims over the past few years that Bank of America improperly sold them loans that soured quickly afterwards. In 2008, Bank of America bought Countrywide Financial, a mortgage company with a reputation for risky loans, allegedly approving home loans for people who the company knew could not pay up. US taxpayers were then footed with the bill after Fannie Mae and other government-owned lenders like Freddie Mac were forced to guarantee all the nation's loans. €5 billion worth of the total settlement will be spent to buy back these bad home mortgage packages sold to Fannie Mae by Countrywide. The loans will be bought back at their outstanding value, and the bank will immediately mark them as a loss. The bank will also pay Fannie Mae up to €1 billion in a separate settlement due to problems relating to improper foreclosures.
And just as an add-on to this story, Bank of America is not the only bank that's compensating people whose mortgages were foreclosed. A group of major mortgage providers will pay out €6.5 billion worth of compensation to people who actually had their homes repossessed wrongly. They're going to get up to €95,000 each. That's about $125,000.
OK, we're going to talk now about one of France's best-known companies, Peugeot Citroen. We know, of course, that they're in big trouble. But there are some fresh rumours ahead of their results Wednesday that could just, if we're lucky, if they're lucky anyway, help them out.
Yeah, Peugeot Citroen, or PSA as the company's known, has big debts. Last year, they announced they're slashing 10,000 jobs, shutting down an assembly plant close to Paris, and it's all to try and save money. The latest rumour is that they're going to sell off Faurecia, which is an auto parts maker that they own 57% of. This sale could earn PSA up to €1.5 billion. They could also write off around €1.6 billion of debt that are on Faurecia's books. Obviously, if they get rid of the company, it's no longer linked to PSA. Now, both companies really keeping stum on this matter for now. PSA are going to make announcements tomorrow when they give us their earnings. But we do know that Peugeot has already been making savings in other areas. For example, it sold off its logistics arm recently, Gefco. So this would be in keeping with that.
OK, well, things are going a little less well, really, for Virgin Megastores France, with several important meetings between workers, company money men and even a minister on Tuesday. The firm is officially insolvent, unable to pay its €22 million debts. And 1,000 workers are now fighting to save their jobs.
They came out of talks more determined than ever. Trade unions for Virgin France want desperately to avoid the music chain going into liquidation.
The meeting took place in a rather sombre atmosphere. We're determined to find a solution for the thousands of Virgin employees.
Further talks are set for this Tuesday, this time with the main shareholder Butler Capital Partners present. The shareholder was appointed by unions to take charge of the chain's bleak financial situation. The business, which was bought from the Virgin Group a decade ago, is currently €22 million in debt. The Minister of Culture met with the unions on Monday.
There's still no concrete offer in place. During this first meeting, we laid out our position and our concerns. We wanted to assure the Minister was aware of our situation.
Aurélie Filippetti offered her support, but employees want more. They want pressure put on Butler and a buyer for the company. If an investor isn't found, Virgin risked liquidation and, worse still, disappearing completely.
Bring you a few other business stories for you now. Samsung getting ready to record for record earnings, really, as it prepares to announce its fourth quarter results. The South Korean company is predicting an 89% increase in operating profit on the same period in 2011. Samsung, already the world's most popular smartphone maker, and it seems customers are continuing to snap up smartphones and tablets in their droves. 70% of that income from its mobile sector.
The news is far less pretty, however, for mobile phone competitor HTC. This is the Taiwanese company which saw its fourth quarter profit plunge by 91% compared to that period the year before. Analysts are blaming the continued popularity of Samsung's Galaxy and Apple's iPhone. But the prediction is that HTC's slump is reaching its lowest point. New models are on the way in the next 3 months, which could bring back some spark.
And in the United States, there are plenty of new toys to please gadget fans anyway at the Consumer Electronics Show, which is starting in Las Vegas. This is the biggest trade show in the US, and companies are taking a gamble on the new innovations and trends that they think will get customers running to the shops. Among them are a face recognition TV and high-tech headphones that use military technology to play your music. Analysts are pointing out that up to half the products may never make it to the stores. Now, a fire on a jet plane yesterday, giving some cause for concern for Boeing, this, isn't it?
Yes, I have to stress that this was a fire on a plane that was parked at Boston's Logan Airport. It had just come in from Tokyo, but there were no passengers on board, no crew on board. There's a technician carrying out some checks, and he found this quite a small fire. So that in itself, quite small, but this is a new headache for Boeing because this was a 787 Dreamliner jet. This is the jewel in their crown, their flagship plane, and it has had a series of setbacks since its launch. It's not much older than 1 year. All 5 of All Nippon Airways Dreamliner fleet were grounded last summer with an engine problem. Back in February, before that, Boeing said that 55 Dreamliners around the world had a fuselage problem. So investors seem to be quite happy that this wasn't Japan Airlines' fault. Japan Airlines' share has been doing well in Tokyo this Tuesday. But passenger confidence in these planes is very important for Boeing, which just announced good figures for its deliveries and orders in 2012, outstripping Airbus. Could this be a setback? We'll have to wait and see.
I hope they sort it out. Now, finally, one of the world's most recognisable brands is celebrating a bit of a significant birthday. If I said to you, mind, with a pause, The Gap, then the viewers probably know what I'm talking about.
We're talking about the London Underground, which you did a great impersonation of. Thank you very much.
It was okay, anyway.
It's 150 years old this week, the London Underground, and that voice has changed more than once in that time. Now, this is the mass transit system that carries more passengers in one day than the whole of the rest of the British railway system put together. Can you imagine? It's busy and it's cramped, and commuters have a lot to complain about. But as a brand, it's getting so much praise. Even the brand manager of New York's Metropolitan Transit Authority says that that circle with the line through it, it just speaks so much about history, British culture. So he's congratulating London Underground on its birthday.
An iconic logo. Catherine, thank you very much. Mind the Cyril Vanier. He'll be here after the break with the latest news. Stay with us if you can.